This is the story of how I fell in love with Tekken and how that love eventually broke me and my controller. See, I've been kinda sick of my standard game genres lately. RPGs, shooters, simulations, I'm burnt out on all of them.
Tired, dude.
Meanwhile, somewhere on the periphery of my awareness, fighting games have been entering a kind of golden age. Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, Mortal Kombat 1 all hit within a few months of each other. They've all gotten excellent reviews. Huge streamers have been jumping in, and a massive drove of new players have been flooding into the fighting game community, including me! So this video will be the tale of how Tekken 8 took over my life, and then claimed my soul. My goal was to break into Red Rank, and then hold a tournament with my non-FGC friends and whoop their monkey ass, earning their eternal awe and admiration, or at the very least, their everlasting salt. Spoilers, it didn't work out the way I had imagined. Hopefully, whether you're a new player or an old school Tekken vet, this story will be a relatable one. And maybe, just maybe, it'll inspire you to dive into the rapturously addictive world of fighting games. A little bit about my background with fighting games. Like a lot of people my age, I discovered fighting games at the arcade, long before I hit puberty. Street Fighter 2, Tekken, Mortal Kombat, all the classics hit the arcades at just the right age for me. But Dead or Alive 2 was my first real intro to 3D fighting games. And no, it's not just because of the heaving bosoms. DOA 2 just happened to be the one that me and my cousin lost all our coins to at the arcade, trying to beat the damn blue girl as we referred to her. I only discovered years later that the blue girl was actually called Kasumi. And I'm not gonna lie, she may or may not have contributed to my sexual awakening.
It's just pathetic.
Then came the era of PlayStation 2, and I could finally mash it out with my cousin on a home console without worrying about our quarters running out. We had no access to online play back then, and game guides were like legendary relics, inaccessible to us common folk. So we didn't know what the hell we were doing, and we didn't really have any way of discovering the game mechanics, since fighting games have notoriously awful tutorials and the internet wasn't really a thing yet. So like most people, my cousin and I spent most of our childhood just mashing random buttons, just praying we might accidentally land a super or a finisher. And the rare times it happened, dude, we lost our goddamn minds. That's me, a thorough scrub. An ignorant baboon, unschooled and unsophisticated in the gentlemanly pursuit of fighting games. But that was all about to change. Well, sort of. Sometime in the summer of 2023, I saw Donkey's video on Guilty Gear Strive. Besides just being a hilarious video, it blew my mind that Donkey literally made it to the highest rank of Guilty Gear just spamming the cheesiest shit. And I wondered, could I do that? Just out of sheer curiosity, I jumped into Guilty Gear and I tried out a few tutorials. To my surprise, I could actually sort of play. Not that I was good, I couldn't even pull off a combo yet, but I could play. I was no longer just poking with single hits like I used to when I was a teenager, getting my ass beat by Goro in Mortal Kombat 4. Then I discovered the legend Rufalmonger, the wise sage who taught me all about Potemkin Bastas in Guilty Gear Strive. And at that point, I had a real simple goal. I just wanted to learn to do a full screen Potemkin Buster command grab with the Kara cancel for even more insane range. Why did I want to do this? So I could cheese my girlfriend, of course. Eventually, my curiosity led me to take the plunge into Street Fighter 6, which looked incredible. Unfortunately, that game never really worked out for me since I was still a Wi-Fi pleb, and I could not for the life of me seem to find a match in my region unless I waited a literal eternity. But I just kept coming across these videos that were egging me on to go even further beyond and become a true card-carrying member of the fighting game community. And in case it's not obvious, those videos also inspired me to make the video you're currently watching. Definitely check out Polygon's excellent video on how to get started with fighting games and have a nice time, as well as Alex Nostalgics' brilliantly edited video, Don't Give Up on Fighting Games, if you're looking for some inspiration or education to dive into the FGC yourself. So I'm watching all these videos, I'm jumping into training mode and learning the moves, and I'm ruining my girlfriend's day with full screen Potemkin busters. But eventually, every scrub starts to buy their own hype, and they start thinking to themselves, maybe I'm actually good at this. Maybe I'm just a fighting game genius. Yo, Daigo Umehara ain't shit. I am the greatest Street Fighter player of all time. And that's it. That's when your life is officially over. Because you are about to have the biggest reality check of your sorry existence. Everyone knows online ranked play is hard. People are competitive and they can get really good at games. But nothing could have prepared me for the monsters that play online Tekken. But before I could even face down those monsters, I had to sort out my connection situation. I wasn't gonna let that Wi-Fi brand of shame take me down like it did with Street Fighter 6. So the day after I got Tekken, I finally got myself an Ethernet cable and I was ready to rock and roll. Then I went online and immediately shit my pants. See, I'd played a little bit of Tekken 7 before, but since I'd never really taken it seriously, all I did was cheese my friends with armored moves, and I never had the balls to jump online. This time though, I was determined to master my reflexes and go beyond mere mashing. What I needed was a teacher, a sensei to guide me through the trenches of Tekken. So I found the man, the legend, the main man Sui. And watching him absolutely blitzkrieg through the green ranks taught me my first important lesson. When playing mashers, all you gotta do is block. Wait for them to overextend and then punish. I also learned the dark art of frame traps, and that alone seemed to carry me through to high green rank. Now I'm not really going to be able to show you any footage from my time down in the lower ranks, and perhaps that's for the best. No one needs to see what goes on down there, in the darkness, flailing desperately at each other, tears streaming down our faces, spamming low moves and grabbing for our lives. I guess there's only really one rule in low rank Tekken. You do not talk about low rank Tekken. But thanks to guys like Main Man Sui and Momo Dog and Rufalmonger, I was able to understand just enough of the basics to stand my ground against the savages down in green ranks. Once I hit the yellow ranks though, that's when things got depressing. My simple block and hit strats weren't working no more because yellow ranks actually block back sometimes. And I just had no answer for that. So I had to do it. I had to venture deep into the bowels of the combo trials and finally learn to play actual Tekken. It probably took me about 50 hours of practice before I could reliably land a launcher and hit confirm it into a combo. But by God, I did it. And I eventually emerged from the living nightmare of beginner Tekken and found myself in the glorious realm of the intermediates of orange rank. And I felt for a while like I was doing it. I was finally a real fighting game player. I wasn't mashing anymore and the people I was playing against weren't mashing either. But that's when the dawning horror hit me. These people weren't mashing anymore. I could no longer just randomly launch them for a combo. These people were patient and they could read my goddamn mind. Worse, I suddenly realized that though I could technically block, I still had no defense. I had no throw breaks, so King could just chain grab me to oblivion. I didn't have a low punish, so people could just mix me up with mid-low strings all day long. Not to mention the fact that Tekken 8 has some of the most broken characters in the history of fighting games, and people were abusing the shit out of them. Seriously, if I ever meet a goddamn Victor player in real life, we might have some words. With my turtling strategy dismantled before my eyes, over and over, I quickly began to feel like Sisyphus, rolling that boulder up the hills of orange rank, only to watch myself tumble back down to yellow ranks again and again and again. About the 50th time I deranked, I finally did it. I broke my controller. Not just any controller either, my brand new PS5 controller, a gift from my girlfriend. Believe it or not, I have made it through my entire gaming odyssey without ever breaking my controller. But Tekken finally got the better of me. And no, I did not break this PS5 controller for content. I legit got so frustrated that I hurled it across the room. I'm not proud of it, but that's what happened. All this went down just a couple of days before I started writing this essay, so at this point, I legit don't know if I'm ever going to get to red rank. But by God, I'm still going to try. Because like it or not, I have fallen in love with the sweet science of fighting games. And I'm not about to give up now. Because I am not a quitter. Because I am not some kind of loser that just gives up when I hit a wall. I bust right through that wall. And if there's another wall, I just bust through that too. And if there's another wall. So I gave up. But frankly, regardless of whether I've made it to red rank yet or not, I ain't done with Tekken. I genuinely love this game. I will be coming back to it time and time again. More importantly, I've fallen in love with fighting games in general, and I've also come to admire the brave psychos that we call the FGC. But I still hadn't made the pilgrimage that every FGC member must eventually make. I had never attended a tournament. Unfortunately, Delhi doesn't have a lot of FGC events going, and I couldn't find one I could make it for in time for this video. So I decided to host my own little amateur tournament. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to present to you introducing our contestants. First up, we have my girlfriend, Pattern Bomber, fighting out of New Delhi with martial law. She may not be able to reliably hit down forward or down back inputs, but by God is her mash solid. Next, we've got my friend, Good for Nothing Productions, fighting out of New Delhi with Hworang. He may know only one combo, but his counter hit grabs will fuck you up. And in third seed, we've got Sarthak. He may never have played a fighting game before in his life, but he's a goddamn maths PhD, so how hard can Tekken really be for this genius? And finally, fighting under the stage name of Bum Knee, the favorite, the undisputed reigning champion of the Mash City Championship, we've got me, Bongbardo. God, if I lose this thing, I genuinely don't know how I'm gonna live with myself. So without further ado, let's jump into the highlights. So we began with a round robin where we each played a match against each other. The two players with the most wins at the end of the round robin would face off in the winner's final, while the losers would have to claw their way back from the losers bracket. Alright, I hope everybody's ready for the tournament, and I hope your head is in the game. Oh my god, why did I get this wrong side? Whatever.
I missed it.
Knowledge check in your ass! What you gonna do about that?
That was short. I ain't got time. I gotta go.
Oh, with the load to finish out the match. Oh no! No! Oh, dude! This is gonna work! Dion figured it out. Oh, nice low. Oh, oh no! I pressed the wrong button. Oh,
4, 3,
2, 1, run away! Oh, my God!
oh my god!
By the end of the round robin, I stood at the summit of the leaderboard, undefeated. Pattern Bomber had managed to eke out a couple of wins, securing a place in the winners final, while Sarthak and Good For Nothing Productions had only secured one win each, and would have to fight each other in the losers bracket.
Oh, that.
No!
Oh!
Yeah!
No, it's a set.
To my utter horror, my girlfriend managed to snatch the match out from under me, moving through to the grand finals, while I was left to wallow in the losers bracket. Despite a valiant effort from Sarthak, in the end, it would be Good For Nothing Productions who pulled out the win and would face me in the losers final.
Oh, yeah.
Even though Warang's kick spam is my worst nightmare, I was able to keep cool and combo my way into the grand finals. Now it was time for some sweet, sweet vengeance as I faced off against Pattern Bomber in the grand finals. This time it would be a best of 3, ensuring no random bullshit would decide the winner. And I absolutely annihilated my girl in the first match 2-0, getting the reset. So this was it. The winner take all grand finals reset. The battle for eternal glory.
Oh my god!
I managed to secure the first game of the best of 3 final set fairly easily. I had now won 3 matches in a row, and Pattern Bomber was starting to get salty.
Okay, no. There's one more.
Why?
Because this was the first match of the second set. I have to beat you one more time for it to count.
Arey, it's done,
No,
yaar.
they're not. They're not.
But suddenly, possessed by a fighting spirit I didn't know she had in her, Pattern Bomber started to make her comeback.
Oh no! Oh shit! God! Oh no! Okay, the one last.
I didn't believe it, but it had now come down to the last round of the last set of the grand finals. This was for all the marbles now.
No.
Dude! Ah, no! No! Oh shit!
And so there you have it. Somehow, I had managed to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory and lost a rigged tournament to my amateur girlfriend. And I can't think of any better way to illustrate just how unpredictable and insane Tekken can be, and why you absolutely have to give it a shot. In a world of botched releases and predatory monetization models, Tekken 8 is like a dream. It works great, looks great, and it offers a level of depth that pretty much puts every other game to shame. Having mostly played FPS games in a competitive context, I must admit the FGC has captured my heart. I really hate the idea of going back to the hellhole of competitive shooters. I don't want to play a game where people get toxic and start yelling racial slurs at their own teammates. And I don't want to play games that have no sense of community built around them. Thank God I braved the learning curve of fighting games because I feel like I finally found my gaming home. Now I'd like to offer a few humble words of advice for newcomers to fighting games. Hopefully they'll save you some time and help make your journey through the challenging, often opaque world of fighting games a little smoother. Here goes, my 7 tips for beginners. Number 1. Learn what frame data is. Simply put, every move a character has in a fighting game takes a moment to start up, and then it takes a few moments to recover. This basically determines when you can hit back and when you need to block. There's a lot of great videos by people way smarter than me on this subject, so I won't belabor the point here. But the concept of frame data is absolutely central to fighting games, and unless you want to keep getting punched in the face powerless to fight back, just taking it up the over and over again.
I'm so sorry.
Just trust me, be a nerd for a second and get a grasp of frames right away. Number 2, get a wired connection. Look, the last thing you want is to spend $60 on a game and not be able to play the damn thing. And while you can definitely get matches online with a Wi-Fi connection, you're gonna have to wait a little longer between sessions, and that can be really annoying and discouraging. People in the FGC absolutely discriminate based on connection, so do yourself a favor and just get a LAN cable before you even buy the game. It'll cost you maybe $4 and 5 minutes of your time, and then you can be the one bitching about the Wi-Fi plebs. Number 3, don't be afraid of training mode. Look, I get it. You want to jump into a ranked match and be Mike Tyson just crushing skulls with your fists. But fighting games, especially Tekken, are simply too complex to figure out on the fly. You're never gonna accidentally learn a combo, and you're certainly never going to accidentally discover which moves give you a frame advantage. So save yourself about 500 hours of grief and just go into training mode once in a while. Number 4, check out some pro matches. Aside from just being really fun to watch, professional players can show you what's really possible in a game. Even if you fancy yourself some kind of Street Fighter genius, trust me, watching Mena RD for a couple of rounds is going to reveal about 45 different strategies you had never even considered. Watching matches like the underdog FDX taking on the god of Tekken himself, Arsalan Ash, can also just be straight up inspiring. I mean, upsets like that are what make any sport worth watching, and epic tournaments at EVO and the like are probably the best introduction to the FGC. Number 5. Expect to lose about 80 to 90% of your matches at the start. If you're coming from any shooter, you're probably used to a rigid, skill-based matchmaking system that evens out your win-loss ratio. Or you might have played games where your teammates can often bail you out. Or assume the useful role of scapegoats when you're looking for someone to blame for a loss. But in fighting games, especially when starting out, it's just you in a sea of killers who were born and bred to play fighting games since the day they were born. So expect to lose a lot. Especially if you're actually trying to block and respond to what your opponent is doing instead of just slamming your forehead into the keys as fast as possible. Number 6. Understand input buffering for combos. Ever since the dawn of fighting games, devs have realized people are humans. They can't perform frame-perfect inputs all the time. So every game has some mechanics that allow you to be a little sloppier with your inputs while still getting a consistent result. Just Google input buffering in fighting games and wrap your head around the idea, because it will make performing special moves and combos and supers way easier. Number 7. Don't let your controller hold you back. New players instinctively see pro players using shiny arcade sticks and assume they need one if they're ever going to get good. This is BS. People have won tournaments at the highest level on ordinary gamepads, or any other kind of controller really. And frankly, the lower down the ranks you go, the less your controller matters, because your problem at low ranks isn't always your execution, it's your strategy and matchup knowledge. You can have the sickest Korean backdash on your golden arcade stick with Sanwa parts or whatever, but if you don't fundamentally understand how to block mid-low strings, you're going to get destroyed. So don't worry about the controller, just jump in and play. That way, when you inevitably smash your controller, you won't be out $150. Now, there's only one question that remains. Do you want to do this? A smart man once said, all pleasure requires skill. And I can't think of a better exemplification of that philosophy than fighting games. If my story sounds like a nightmare to you, and the idea of learning about frame data freaks you out, well, fighting games can still offer you a lot, and you can still have a blast just mashing and cheesing your friends with OP characters. But if you really want to play Tekken, or any fighting game, and you want to explore everything the game has to offer, you gotta accept that what you get out of a game depends entirely on what you put into them. If your commitment is shallow, all you'll get is a shallow experience. But if you devote yourself to the fighting game gods, they will eventually reward you and elevate you to video game Valhalla. I suppose all that's left to say is, ready? Then get out there and fight somebody. Thanks so much for watching. I'm sorry I haven't managed to upload a video in such a long time. I've actually gotten a new gig and it's been making putting out videos kind of difficult. So thanks to everybody who still stuck around, and thanks to anybody who showed up who's new. Hope I'll be able to bring more content to you in the near future. Cheers. See you in the next one.